Yeah, I mean, I was the oldest son, so I was being groomed to take over the farm.
It completely blew my mind.
Horticulture was really exciting and dynamic. You've got to have a basic plan for the whole season, but then you've got to be able to move with it.
They are grown, not manufactured.
The whole place lifts when a young person comes into a business, and they just give a really nice vibe around the farm. I like growing tough crops because I'm a little bit of a sadist like that.
Good fun though, good challenge. Welcome to Supplied, the podcast about how fresh food gets to us from the people who produce it, move it and cook it. I'm Rob Burton. I've spent over 45 years both growing and then supplying fruit and veg to some of Britain's top restaurants. Now I get the chance to talk to people behind the food we eat. From specialist growers, committed suppliers and Michelin-star kitchens, we'll hear how they got started, why they do what they do and the lessons they've learned along the way. So whether you work in fresh food or just care where yours comes from, you're in the right place. This podcast is made possible by Fresho, the order management platform that helps food suppliers run smoother, faster and smarter operations. Now, let's get into the episode. My guest today is Nick Ottewell, who is Farming and Commercial Director at LJ Betts, who are large-scale salad growers based in West Malling in Kent. He joined them 14 years ago, initially starting as the farm manager, but has spent the last 11 years directing the growing and selling of all produce produced on the farms. He was born and raised on a very modest farm in Derbyshire. He's a Newcastle University graduate in agriculture, which was followed by a 2-year post-grad scheme working in horticultural businesses, followed by a career in managing horticultural farms. He's been in and around food and fresh produce his whole working career. As his career has progressed, he's become specialised in salad, but does have a broader portfolio of knowledge that includes onions, beans, brassicas and other crops. Nick, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Hi, Rob.
Let's talk about your career to date, or your life to date, if you wish, wherever you want to go on it.
Very lucky childhood,
Yeah.
in lots of ways. So privileged, really.
Growing up on a farm.
Very small, classic family farm. So no money, because that's
Yeah.
a myth. There are no money in small family
That's correct.
farms.
Yep.
But an amazing childhood. You know, the sort of childhood where we'd got a river as one of the boundaries of the farm, and I could just walk down the river when I felt like it, hook a trout, walk back. I was doing that at age 7 or 8. Just had a huge playground. No health and safety on farms when I was a child, so I was driving tractors at the age of 10 for my dad. But behind the scenes, there was a lot going on that I was naive to at the time with the fact that it wasn't making money. And
What sort of farm was it?
it was traditionally a very mixed farm.
Yeah.
Apparently, really very productive around the sort of Second World War. A lot of POWs there, where my granddad and his father were sort of running it, and quite a thriving farm. But unfortunately for the farm, the coal, the British coal found a seam of coal underneath it, and they open cast it in the 1960s.
Right.
At the time,
what part of Derbyshire was it in?
this is sort of mid-east Derbyshire, near the Nottinghamshire border.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a lot of mining around there.
Yeah.
And all my mum's side of the family come from mining stock.
Yeah.
Basically, all the kids at school were either mainly mining kids, and I was sort of the odd one out as a farmer. But once it had been open cast, the farm was very unproductive after that. So it lost its kind of heartbeat as a mixed farm that could do a bit of everything, and became a very extensive sort of grazing sheep extensively type farm, because it couldn't really produce anything after that apart from poor grassland.
Yeah, got you. Okay. So you went through school, and then was it always your plan, hope, desire, call it what you will, to work in the farming industry or horticultural industry?
Yeah, I mean, I was the oldest son, so I was being groomed to take over the farm, and I was mentally wanting to do that, and I was ready for that. I was up for it.
Yeah.
So then at the age of 17, when my father said, I'm going to have to sell, it's not going to be yours, that was a bit of a big thing to deal with at
tough.
17. Yeah, it was actually.
So you thought you were going to be doing something?
I thought I was going to step into the family business as the oldest son and have this life where I never had to move more than a few miles from where I'd grown up.
Yeah.
And it changed.
Tough.
It was tough. It was actually a bit worse than that, because my dad probably hung on longer than he should have done. So by the time he did sell it, literally everything was owned by other people.
Right. Yeah.
So he wasn't just having to sell and change lifestyle slightly. He was selling and almost couldn't put a roof over his head at that point.
So it was
pretty tough.
It was financial reasons that.
Yeah, luckily I was
drove it home?
pretty bright at school.
Yeah.
Reasonably, I wouldn't say I was academic, but when I put my mind to it, I could pass exams, and I've
Yeah.
always been quite good at maths and things like that naturally. So I focused. I realised that I hadn't got the life path set, and went to university.
Did it take you long to get your mindset changed from what you thought it was going to be to then what it ended up being?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rob, because I think that happened at university.
Okay.
Because I went to university, it's very insular, if you like, very nice. Never moved far from Derbyshire.
Yeah.
The last decade before that really just focused on sheep. Went to university with a very narrow mindset on what agriculture and I didn't even know about horticulture, what agriculture was.
Yeah.
But that's part of being at university, isn't it? It broadens you and you start
Yes.
to see things. And a lot of my friends came from different types of farms, and then you go back to their farms for the weekend and see different farming. And so I started to build up my knowledge of British agriculture and horticulture. And then I just started to realise that horticulture was really exciting and dynamic, and you're having to deal with retailers and lots of very fast-moving daily orders, and that's how I tick, really.
Yeah, it can be pressurised, but it can be a lot of fun as a result. That's for sure. If it suits you to have something where the ground is almost moving under your feet on a rolling basis.
So so it grabbed me whilst at uni.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to take it on from there and develop a career in it.
So you left uni. What happened next? Where'd you go?
I couldn't find a job to start with. Almost in desperation, became an accountant, training accountant, because you can go on straight to a straight accountancy thing when you've got a degree.
Hang on.
And literally at the point where I was about to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
For Anderson's, I think it was.
Oh yeah, Arthur Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah, I was literally about to sign on the dotted line, and I'd been for an interview with a company called Management Development Service, and they were developed by the horticultural industry. So it was a group of farmers that had got some vision of how to bring graduates into horticulture and give them a grounding. And if you look at most horticultural businesses, they have a lot of seasonality to their annual cycle.
Yes.
So they said, right, if we bring young graduates in at the peak, at the part of the season that's busy for that business, they can go in there for 6 months. They can take on a role like a team leader or a supervisor or a technical assistant. They can start to build up their sort of middle management type skills in horticulture. Companies get intelligent people when they need them, when they're busier, and somebody walks out at the end of it as this wonderful, rounded individual who spent 2 years in horticultural businesses.
I mean, on that subject, and how many years ago was that?
Well, I was 21, so 22, so it's...
50 years ago?
32 years ago, so...
So
94, 95.
So on the subject of recruiting good people, great people, what's it like now?
We're struggling.
Yeah.
It's something that we've debated at board level a lot, how to bring young people in.
Yeah.
The whole place lifts when a young person comes into a business.
Different energy.
Just a different energy.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I've got one young person in my business at the moment that we've managed to bring in. And, we're all out crop walking and he's there on his iPad and he's, knocking everything straight into spreadsheets and telling us he's got this and he's got that. And it's just a different energy to the business that young people bring in. And I think we've got one in now, and I think we're determined to get 2 or 3 more in. I mean, I'm sure we'll go on to it as the interview goes on, but I'm now part of a bigger group with a soft fruit business that's all part of the group.
I was going to.
So we feel as a group, we can probably offer a graduate a really good training base.
Yeah, because we perhaps should talk about LJ Betts now, and then sort of move into how the ownership of that changed. So how long ago was it that you joined Betts?
2011. I joined LJ Betts. I'd known Stephen, who's the owner and managing director. I'd known Stephen ever since I started working in Kent, which was around 16, 17 years previous to that. Yeah. So when I first moved to Kent and took a full-time role as a trainee grower, there was a company called J.J. Barker's who were the biggest in Kent at that point.
Yeah.
And Stephen's business was fairly modest, much smaller than it is now.
What did Barker's grow? Would they salad growers
Salads,
as well? Yeah.
but
yeah.
all the big blue chip contracts, Tesco, etc., Sainsbury's, all
your multiples,
the big retailers. And I joined as a trainee there, and we had a lot of resource for doing variety trials and stuff like that. And Stephen just rang me up out of the blue one day and said, look, I'm a lettuce grower as well, but I don't have the resources that J.J. Barker has. Do you mind if I come and sit in on some of your trial days? And just, I'm always paranoid that I'm missing out because I'm a certain size.
Yeah.
And so as a very young man, I developed a relationship with Stephen. Obviously, 20 years later, I went to work for him. So
yeah. Funny how it comes around.
Things come around, yeah.
So what was the Betts business like in terms of scale and size when you joined? And how it's easy for me to say, how had it developed at the point where it was sold? What was that, about 3 years ago, was it?
Yeah, nearly 3, about 2.5, yeah.
So in terms of Betts, so when you joined, 2-3 years ago, how had it changed?
Yeah, okay. Well, when I joined Betts, it was really predominantly what we call whole head.
Yeah,
so
whole head lettuce,
so your classic iceberg, cos, gem, bits and bobs of other stuff, but all whole head.
Yes.
At that point, baby leaves as a UK crop were in their infancy.
Yeah.
Things like baby leaf spinach and wild rocket, that they were niche crops rather than commodity crops at that point.
Yeah.
But I'd just spent 4 years setting up a farm for another company called Vitacrest, who were all baby leaves.
Oh yeah, I know that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the time when I joined Stephen, he was just trying to start up a baby leaf portfolio.
Yes.
So I was quite quickly able to make an impact for him because I'd got the experience more than LJ Betts had in baby leaves. And he taught me the whole head. So
so the sort of the education went both ways.
It did.
Yeah,
so,
that's nice.
So it was nice. So we built up a full portfolio of whole head and baby leaf, and we both felt like we were bringing something to the party.
That's good.
And it was a very quick way to develop the scale of the business too. So,
were you selling the baby leaf to the same or different customers that were buying the whole head?
Well, we just literally started doing a few bags into Thoroughgoods.
Yeah.
But it was very modest. It was like 200 kilos a day or 300 kilos a day.
Yeah.
But as the baby leaf grew, we just piggybacked off of all of our whole head customers. So everybody that took our whole head brand, we just started to offer the baby leaf brand, and it just kind of developed the portfolio.
So the same customer. So you finished up selling more to the same customers.
Yeah.
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 That works.
It
does work. Yeah.
So in 2011, I think the turnover was about 2.8 million. And at the point where Stephen sold the business, it was around 11 million.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
About halfway through that period, again, after discussions with Thoroughgoods, we took the decision to go 12 months of the year with our brand. So offer the product for the whole 12-month year, not just when we were growing it. So we become importers and packers of imported produce when we're out of season as well.
How long have you been doing that? Because that's quite a step change.
It was a step
all of a
change.
Sudden you've gone from controlling the product as much as you can in terms of growing to then putting it in the hands of others. How did that go?
It was really me. At that point, I'd become commercial director, and it was me really being told by my main customers that I should do it because they didn't like to move to another brand. They did it reluctantly.
Yeah.
And they were like, Nick, you need to be, LJ Betts needs to be supplying us 12 months of the year.
Yeah, because it's a well-respected brand that people can trust.
You've got technical people within your business that can source it from abroad better than we can. We know you can handle it. We know you can transport it up here. So I think it was around 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I should know the exact year, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So that changed the business completely as well, going 12 months of the year.
Going back to Stephen, so say 3 years ago, so at that point was it a typical family business?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
We've had various conversations with different people about the dynamics of family businesses. What was it like working in that particular family business? Because they all have their own quirks, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's being very diplomatic about it.
I mean, before we go any further, I'll say it still is a family business.
Yes,
just to be
yeah,
clear.
I was going to move on
yeah,
to how
yeah.
that's changed. Yeah,
I don't want to say too much.
no, I understand.
You know, but Stephen had committed his whole life
Yes.
to it successfully, I have
Yeah.
to say. You know, and done a great job of creating a successful business. He was one of 5 children, and I suppose it's all about succession planning.
Yeah,
And within the family, the policy from his parents had been to make sure all the children had an interest in the business, whereas some businesses might say, or some families might say, if they want to work in the business, they're the ones that get it.
Yeah.
And then you've got the succession, or you've got
can get
there's
quite
less
messy.
risk with people that are non-active shareholders having a view on how what happens to the business.
Yeah, it can end up a bit messy sometimes.
And it did.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, he was, I think, forced by the rest of his shareholders
Yeah.
into the decisions that were made. I'm not privy to some of those, you know, so I don't
No.
want to. So I'm
No,
not, it's not right to say.
there's no point trying to second guess it.
Yeah.
So did he? This sounds a bit odd. Did he willingly move on from a point, you know, where he had to?
I think he did it
because
the way
he sort of got to a point where that's how it had to be.
I think he did it the way Stephen did everything in his career. He did it extremely professionally.
Mm.
So he could see that he couldn't naturally find a succession plan. He was trying for a few years to get some of the next generation interested, but for whatever their reasons were, he couldn't, because there was his children, but there were also children of some of his brothers and sisters as well.
Yes.
But there didn't seem to be any appetite from the next generation. So at that point, he thought this isn't going to have a natural succession. So he then brought in somebody, a professional, on succession planning.
Yeah.
Who interviewed.
That's really clever on his part.
Yes,
because lots of people don't do this.
Don't.
They just wait till it turns into a shit show.
Exactly. So this person interviewed all the shareholders. He also interviewed the directors. So there were 2 directors in the business that weren't the family, which was me and a woman called Alison, who was the finance director.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sort of went away and looked at everything that he'd learned and came back and said, time to sell.
Yeah. So at this point then, so the decision was made, and was there a number of potential purchasers of the business, or was it only ever going to be ultimately where it's ended up now?
From very early on, it was off the market again.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, again, another typical Stephen. He was never going to just go to the highest bidder.
No, he needed to feel right.
It needed to feel right.
Yeah.
And when it was, you know, extended family that are farming next door, that have got a succession plan with dynamic young people that want to come in and take it all over, he could see that. And I think, I don't know this, but I would imagine that behind closed doors, it was verbally agreed between them all that it would carry on as LJ Betts and not be swallowed up by a bigger company. And so very early on, he felt like he'd got the right fit.
Is there a family connection between Betts and Hewlow Farms
and the Regan family? Yeah.
And what is the family connection on
I
that?
should
one?
know, I suppose. I think they're second cousins or something.
Got
like
you.
that.
So it's not a very very
it's not
close
tight,
connection
but
as such.
it's there.
But there is a link.
There is, yeah.
So you're 3 years down the road now.
Yeah.
Into it being owned by Hewlow Farms.
Yeah.
What's it been like?
It's been enjoyable.
Yeah.
It certainly has.
Interesting first thing to say, enjoyable. That's great.
Yeah. Dynamic people. I think the soft fruit sector of horticulture is extremely dynamic. So, you know, intelligent, dynamic people coming into a business, being humble enough to see when something's really good, and the Regan family would say some things that we do they've learnt for their business.
Great.
So
transfer
it's
of
two
knowledge
it's
again.
transfer.
Yeah.
It's
a bit like when you and Stephen got together.
Yeah. So it's been transfer of knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it's working because they get it. You know, what we do
getting it is a huge factor.
What we do is hard,
Yeah.
And a lot of the things you do, think, why would you ever have a business that's so high risk at that margin? But they're passionate about the food. They're passionate about being food producers. They're not about to sell out and have it all. They want to be food producers, and they wanted to broaden their range of food, and they're very committed.
Interesting comment you made there. My background's farming, and one of my saying that my father had, he said, every year we get a mountain of money, we bury it in the ground, and we just hope we get a bit more out than ever we put in.
Yeah.
And that sort of sums it up, because at the end of the day, it is at the mercy of the weather.
Yeah.
That's.
It
I
can
mean, with
be,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always trying your hardest to manage that risk.
Yeah.
And use all your skills to sort of try and be the best you can be. But ultimately, at some point, sometimes nature does win.
Nature's always going to win ultimately.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And,
I mean, you can mitigate it as much as
having owners that get that.
Yeah.
Makes my job a little bit less stressful.
Yeah, because it's not all about the balance sheet and the numbers and all the rest of it, because there's reasons why you can have a phenomenal year and there's reasons why you can have a bad year, and both of which, funny enough, can be out of your control up to a point, depending on if the weather plays its part.
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges that vets face at this moment in time, in terms of economic challenges? Is it recruitment of staff? Is it how much you're getting for the product? But I'm guessing you're probably going to say it's weather, and weather events might feature quite highly in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it?
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
Trying to prioritise them or list them can probably change from year to year.
Yeah.
I would say 5 years ago it was Labour, all around Brexit, and that was massive anxiety. I think common sense finally prevailed, so there's some stability in that area now with visa schemes and things like that. So that's all quietened down and feels quite stable. And actually, I would say the last 2 or 3 years, probably at least the last 2 years, I think we've had the most settled workforce and happy workforce, and low drama situations with Labour than we've ever had. So,
do you know why that is, or is it just one of those periods that you need to enjoy while it lasts?
You've got to be really careful not to get too generalistic about nationalities and traits of nationalities.
Yeah.
However, before when we had the visa scheme, and then when some Eastern European countries became part of the EU, and then we didn't need the visa scheme because we were using people straight from the EU, etc. It was a very Eastern European culture on the farms, which was very hard working, but quite macho.
Yeah, tough to manage sometimes.
Drink hard, play hard, work hard.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of drama outside of work with people. Sometimes there'd be fisticuffs on the camp and things like that when two drunk blokes that sort of rubbish. Now we've gone back to a visa scheme after we've left the EU, and the government agencies that issue the visas have gone to Middle East with some of the visas. So places like Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. And
there's a lot of stands going on.
And you're not allowed to say the standing countries. That's not PC, so I'm not allowed to
really?
go. So
what I just said is politically incorrect.
It was.
Okay.
But
we won't cut it.
All those countries, and they're very gentle people.
Yeah.
They're very hardworking, but they're very gentle. They're Muslim, so they don't really. Some of them do drink, but not many of them drink. So, and then also the other place that we've been getting workers from is Kenya, and I was sceptical.
Interesting.
And I was sceptical about the Kenyan people.
Why? Choose your words carefully.
I thought they'd be lazy. I didn't think they'd be hardworking enough.
That's exactly when I said that's sort of where I was going on this one. Yeah,
but I couldn't have been more wrong. And
interesting.
There's the added bonus that they all speak fluent English. They're very happy people, so they're very easy to keep happy, and they just give a really nice vibe around the farm. And I have to say, it's been a very pleasant experience.
That's a lovely thing for you to say, because I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
But it is, if you're working with nice people.
Yeah.
It's just nice, isn't it? That's the way it is.
Absolutely. So
Yeah. So they're perhaps easier to work with and manage than maybe Eastern Europeans were back in the day? Or is it just
that's
different?
that's been my
That's your
that's been my
experience.
experience. I wouldn't like to speak for everybody in horticulture, but that's been my
that's
experience.
how you see it.
Yeah.
So, and have they got the same work ethic as because Eastern Europeans, were known as having a really, really good work ethic.
Yeah.
They say work hard, play hard. Similar sort of work ethic.
Yes, I mean, I'd say if an Eastern European's work ethic was 10 out of 10, this is probably being super harsh because I've got some very hard-working people. It's probably 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's probably, across the board, it's probably a tiny, tiny drop-off on productivity, but still a very acceptable productivity and a lot of positives outside of the productivity.
Yeah. And if it's a nicer environment that's created...
and that's probably
it's
a bit
good
harsh.
trade-off. Well, no, you call it as you say.
Thanks to Fresho for sponsoring this episode. Fresho provides order management and AI order entry software that fresh food suppliers love. From automating how you receive orders, to picking, pricing, delivering, invoicing, and payments, Fresho makes your business run better. And it's all backed with 24/7 support, so you get the help when you need it. To find out more, go to fresho.com.
A while back, I had a conversation with a guy called Marco Caffarelli, who is a cucumber grower. Okay. And it was a lot of fun. It was very emotional at various points. It was odd in a really good way, I hasten to add. It's a small family business that grows nothing but cucumbers, fabulous cucumbers. And he said he grows with his heart and grows with feel. Now, yours is a much, much bigger enterprise. How would you describe how you go about the growing? Because Marco can do it by heart and feel because of the scale of it. Yours is somewhat different. So how do you go about it?
I'm in his camp. I grow with feel.
Yeah.
But
you can't teach feel, can you?
No, but I'm a bit of a dinosaur, I'll be honest. And so what I've always wanted to do is never lose the day-to-day, boots on the ground in the crops. It's how Stephen wanted it when he brought someone like me into the business. He wanted all my customers, all his customers, my customers as well, to be talking to the person that's putting their boots through the field, not just somebody sitting at a desk. And I've always wanted to be that person. And I think if I can't do that, I wouldn't want to do it. So my general weekly routine is to walk all the crops on a Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
It takes me all day Monday to walk all the baby leaves. I walk all the crops with all the people that need to know what I'm thinking, and I need to know what they're thinking. And then I do the same on a Tuesday with all the whole heads. So by the time I get to Tuesday night, I feel like I've walked all the crops on the farm. Now I walk those crops with a lot of feel. So I'm in the crops, that corner's not quite right, so the yield's going to drop off there. So.
Are you using any data at this stage?
No, I don't use any data.
No,
I'm a data phobe.
Yeah. So it is sight, feel.
I know how much is out there because I've been doing it for years. I know the hardest bit to get right on farms like this is knowing when the crops down the line are going to be ready to harvest.
Get the continuity there. Yeah.
Yeah, but also to get the continuity, but also to know the volume between X and Y. Date X and date Y. What's the volume between there? How much you want to sell between there and there?
Yeah.
And you've got growth curves. But they're only growth curves, and as we all know, the British weather goes up and down and sideways, so I'm in the field. I'm looking at the field. I'm looking at the soil, how that's been acting with the weather it's had over the last few weeks. I'm looking at the weather forecast, thinking what's going to happen over the next week, and then I'm picking a point in the crop and going, that's where I want to be in a week's time. So that's how much crop I want to sell the next week.
You're doing all this based on the experience that you've had to date that allows you.
Yeah.
Do other people do it different ways?
I think possibly there's some people that would tend to do it more by spreadsheets. Yeah. So it's drilled on that date. That means it should be ready to harvest on that date.
That's never going to happen, is it? Because the weather gets in the way.
It's there as a
guide.
It's a framework and a guideline, but I try and teach my team that that's what it is. It's not the Bible. It's a guide. It's a framework.
Yes.
To then work within. It's slightly. I mean, I don't know how technical you want me to get, but it's very different from the whole head to the baby leaf, because the whole head is a 2-stage process. So we give sowing programs to the greenhouses.
Yes.
And then the plants arrive on the farm.
So they produce your plants, and they will deliver them
at the date that's
on
agreed.
a given date. Yeah.
And that can't change with the crop walking.
Yeah.
So they're going to come. So I then just got to manage it week in, week out, depending, because you can't change what's actually going in the ground each week.
Yes.
Because it's all been done 2-3 months forward.
Yeah.
With the baby leaf, because you're drilling it from seed and it's only about 4 weeks to harvest. If I'm in the crops one week and I think these spinach yields are going to go crazy, but we're 3 days behind the growth curve, so we're going to get big yields, and the crop's been slow till now, and I've got more in the ground than I want, I might only drill half the amount that week, so that I bring it back in line.
Yeah, because you're going to have a bit of a flush coming your way.
Yeah, and I know that I've got a lot in the ground.
Yeah.
So think, well, I don't need to drill 6 hectares this week. I'll drill 3 hectares, and that will bring me back in line in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Now that's feel. And
I love it.
And I try to empower my team to have that same feel.
Yeah.
And I think, and they're doing okay. I also think sometimes when you're the boss, it's easier to make a brave decision like that.
Correct.
Because it's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if I get it wrong, it's me that's got it wrong. Whereas the guys underneath me might think, oh, if I decide to do that and it's wrong, what's Nick going to say?
Yeah.
But I hope they don't think that, because I want to encourage that. So there's a lot of feel in the baby leaf, I think, week to week, because the weather's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
But within that, you've got a lot of planning to do as well. So you've got to have a basic plan for the whole season, but then you've got to be able to move with it.
Yeah, I mean, when it was about this time last year, I came with a group of chefs down to Pests, and the timing could not have been better, because the day before you'd had rain of biblical proportions.
Yeah.
And it was like a quagmire. There were certain fields where the harvesting was going on with the rigs where you could only go in one particular direction. Yeah. You got another tractor pulling the tractor that was pulling the rig. Yeah. And what was really interesting about that is that it really illustrated to the chefs what I keep banging on about, is that this product, these things, all these things we deliver to you on a daily basis, they are grown, not manufactured. And they were really, it opened their eyes into what has to go into it to ensure that the product that we were seeing that morning was going to end up in their kitchen the following morning. Yeah. And the hell that the people are having to go through just to make sure it happened. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was much better than coming on a lovely day when the sun was out and the sky was blue and everything was in perfect condition, because, you get days like, but you get the alternative.
Yeah, if you see a business on the tough day, you're really seeing the business, aren't you?
That's correct. That's right, yeah. It's funny, actually, last week I was in over in Holland, and part of the visit I went to see a radish grower. And I got very, very excited at these radish growers, because they've got 17 hectares of glass in radish production. Wow. They were a one-trick pony, radish. They get 7 crops a year. That works out at 119 hectares, which is 294 acres in old money. So over the year, they're producing the equivalent of 168 football pitches worth of radish. It completely blew my mind. It was on such a vast scale. Yeah. And the fact they can crop it 7 times over a year. I mean, obviously you've got times where it's a very, very quick grow. Yeah. And then through the winter, it can be 3 months. Yeah, exactly. But it sort of averages out. Yeah. What was also interesting about that is that the vast majority of it is mechanically harvested. Yeah. But some of it is done by hand and bunched by hand. And people pay a premium, significant premium, for the same radish, but it's been just pulled out of the ground by hand and bunched. Mm-hmm. And nobody could really answer the question why people wanted to pay more money for it, because it's exactly the same product. Yeah. And it looked almost identical at the end of it. Yeah. But it was, that was a lot of radish.
Yeah, it's a fascinating crop. It's about 15 days from seed to harvest or something.
Yeah.
It's so quick.
Yeah, if the conditions are perfect, it just grows. You can stand there and watch it grow. Yeah. So apart from the weather, what else are your big challenges at the moment? Any
I think-
issues with pests this year?
Oh, huge, yeah. Huge pest issue. I
It was a
mean,
big sigh then.
yeah, we've just come off the back of a battering, really, so we're a bit battered and bruised as a business right now.
Yeah, go on. What was that?
We've had about 6 weeks of trying to fight aphids. They've been on the wing for about 6 weeks, which is the longest sustained attack I think I've ever known in my whole career.
Interesting use of words, attack. That's obviously how it's felt.
It's how it's felt, yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's caused it?
I think mild winters, because aphids have a summer host and a winter host, and they've clearly wintered too well.
So there's a lot more come out of the winter than there should be.
And then they're a bit like ants. They have a winged cycle that then migrate from the winter host to the summer host, and they just breed like mad. Apparently, as soon as an aphid's born, it's got the young inside it to give birth to the next one. So
hang on, say that again. When an aphid is born,
it already has its developed young inside it for the next one to be born.
Good God.
I think they can give birth 7 times a day. So if you imagine one aphid landing on a crop, and then the next day there's 7, and the next day there's 49, and the next day there's 300.
I'm going to say, do the maths on that.
So within a week you can have 2,000 from one aphid.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
That's so yeah, and then multiply that upon the amount of aphids there are, and you've got a lot of aphids on your hands, millions.
So you got the combination of a major attack, insect attack into the farms, and then we have what we call plant protection usage lists that have been dwindling, quite rightly in lots of ways. But when I first started,
this is in terms of the chemical you could apply to control it.
So when I started as a young man fresh into the industry 30 years ago, there were 990 something actives within the EU that had different products that you could with different active ingredients of 900. There's now less than 100 in the EU.
Has it been trimmed back that much?
Yeah.
Based on research into...
Some of it research, some of it political.
Oh, so there's political decisions in this?
100%, yeah. NGOs get hold of, tells we're killing bees with a certain... which sometimes there's not a lot of science base to it. Sometimes there is.
But either way, it ends up on the banned list.
Yeah.
So you've got less and less options over the years to control aphids.
Yeah. Already, it's just one example. Aphids is just one example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What damage can an aphid do for the benefit of it?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's just the fact that it's there
in the crop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we've sent crops, so that it's been costing us about 3 times the wage to harvest the crop. So you take something like a 800-gram head of iceberg lettuce.
Yes.
And then we've found that if we pull 6 or 7 leaves off the outside, that's where most of the aphids of this particular type have been residing.
Yeah, get on the inside of it.
So we can strip it back to a 400-gram head and produce something that's reasonably okay for the customer. But you've halved the weight and you've spent 3 times as long doing it.
Yeah.
So it's financial suicide.
Yeah. Adds up. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
And is that still happening, or have you got through it now?
Almost through it.
I mean, I presume is the fact that temperatures have now come down, does that help the situation?
They're still on the wing.
Yeah.
They're still on the wing, but in much lower numbers.
But is that helped by temperatures being lower? Or does that make any difference at all?
Yes, and actually, if temperatures are really high, they stop as well. Apparently, they don't fly when it's over 23 degrees either.
Right.
So they're within temperature windows when they fly. So that's why we never get a summer. Aphids tend to come in spring and autumn.
Yeah.
They don't normally come midsummer.
Don't come out.
We had a huge number in the spring as well, so the numbers have clearly been there all year. But luckily in the spring there was also a huge ladybird population, and they took care of it. We had a few complaints from customers with ladybirds in crop, but they were beneficial and they ate all the aphids.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So we got away with that.
Yeah.
But this autumn attack we haven't had the beneficial population to help.
Yeah, you make a good point there. If we deliver a product and it's got a pest in it, if it's aphid, it's the world is officially going to end, and it's almost fucking Armageddon for the customer. If it's a ladybird, it's sort of okay because they're nice, cute pests, aren't they?
I hope that's
pretty.
Right. I mean, at least I'll take that because we've tried our best to manage aphids, but I've had customer complaints where we've been called disgusting for selling somebody a head of lettuce that's got an aphid in it and things like that.
And an aphid's not going to, if you consume
No,
the aphid, it's not going to do you any harm.
No, it will actually, I'm sure there's a slight nutritional value to it. It certainly won't do you any harm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember once a customer spoke to me and said, look, I've got something and it's got, he said, well, I think it's covered in aphids. I said, well, we haven't charged you for them. They didn't come free of charge.
Exactly.
Didn't go down particularly well, I have to say.
It's been tough. It's been tough. And the stress that puts through the whole business with the harvest teams, the crop walking, so we're crop walking, so instead of it being straightforward, what yield are we going to get from that? How many aphids are in that? What can we send to that customer? What do we send? Then you're looking at all your routes to market, because luckily some of the washed and prepped, they can wash them out.
Yes.
So we've still been able to sell quite a lot of the produce to the washed and prepped side.
So you just touched upon some of that. So you've got where you sell it, if you like, whole head.
Yeah.
But you've also got product that is sold to people that will
wash
say
and prep. Yeah.
wash and prep. So what sort of business are they? They make sandwiches. What is it? Ready salads?
Yeah, and the bags of salads in retail, they're all washed and ready to eat.
Yes.
So if you want to serve that market, you have to have either a high care facility or just supply a factory that has a high care facility.
I'm with you.
So it makes it like a two-link supply chain.
And in terms of a percentage of your annual production, how much of it goes into the processing industry, and how much of it is in the whole head bag salad?
The brand.
Yeah.
About half and half.
Okay, so it's a nice balance there.
Yeah, and that's so my biggest role for the business in lots of ways is to have that customer balance right, so that I can manage each crop effectively depending on what we're dealing with week to week.
Yes.
You've got to have different routes to market. If you don't have more than one route to market, you are going to come a cropper. COVID was a classic for that.
Yeah.
And this recent aphid attack is another example, because the only crop that didn't have a second route to market was the packs of little gem lettuce.
Yes.
Now, they're really successful for us, those bags of little gem. I think we dominate London in the food service
because it's a great product.
Because it's a great product. But it is a food service product. They don't use it in factories because it hearts quite a lot, it doesn't fall apart. So once I've got aphids into that, I've only got the brand as the route to market.
Yeah.
I've had huge losses this autumn on the jam.
You've had any wins this year?
Yeah, we've increased our wild rocket production, which is a tough crop. But I like growing tough crops because if they're easy crops, everybody can do them.
It's boring, isn't it?
A little bit. I'm a little bit of a sadist like that. So I always.
What's tough about growing wild rocket?
Oh, really tough. So you imagine the seeds that you put in the ground when you want to grow a plant.
Yeah.
Well, the size of a wild rocket seed is 0.3 of a gram per 1,000 seeds. It's
incredibly small then.
It's about the size of a grain of sand.
Right.
So you imagine trying to get machinery and staff and that are technical enough to handle that to produce a lovely bed of rocket that's the right seed density. And if you drill it more than 2 millimeters deep, 2 millimeters, it hasn't got the strength to pop through. It just withers and dies in the ground because it's so tiny. So you have to cover it with soil without going too deep. So you imagine your land preparation has to be perfect.
Got to be bang on the money. Yeah.
Your drilling has to be perfect. And then when you've done all that perfectly, which most people can't, you've then got to protect it against all the pests and diseases that want to get it as well. And there's quite a lot in rocket. So it's a tough crop.
Good fun though, good challenge.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy the rocket,
Yeah. If there was one restaurant anywhere in the world that you've been to and you could go back to, which one would it be and why? It's a question I like to ask all our guests. So because there's no two answers the same.
Yeah. I found this one tough, actually. I had to sit and think about it because I'm not... I don't get out much, to be honest. Live a very modest lifestyle. I have to say, probably where I took my wife for our first meal. I'd like to go back there because we liked it so much that when we got married, we had our wedding reception there too.
Oh, right, where was that?
That was a restaurant in Canterbury called the Café de Soleil.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It's kind of Frenchy type food. And quite like that. So probably there.
Okay, and I understand the reasons for that. And the other part of the question is, and the answer could be your wife, I suppose, is like, what person, any person, alive or dead, would you go back to there with? Now, the obvious answer is going to be with your wife.
I've got a different answer.
Oh, good. Go on then.
My mum.
Why?
My mum was taken young. I feel like my time with her was cut short. And
how old was she? If you don't mind me asking.
She was a very unique lady. She was I think she was the same age that I am now.
Yeah.
So she was
So
about
young,
54.
Right.
But she had a very unconventional, strange life. And when you're the son, you get caught up in that as a sort of wrong son because she wasn't the dutiful mother.
Right.
And so I was quite angry about not having a mum that was like mums are supposed to be.
Yeah, the stereotypical
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that I'm a man in my 50s, and I can sort of see the battles that she went through and some of the bravery she had to show to be the person she was, I'd really like to sort of sit and have a meal with her and chat about that.
Lovely. I mean, do you mind me asking what unconventional might look like?
She left, so like I say, I had this very idyllic childhood, family farm. It was a shotgun wedding. I was a mistake.
Yeah.
So my dad was 20, my mum was 16.
For the benefit of our younger listeners,
Yeah.
a shotgun wedding is where people get married because somebody's pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and in that generation, again, for the benefit of your younger listeners, you were made to do it, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. There was no choice.
In certain families, you had to say, if you're pregnant, you get married.
Yeah, my parents did the same.
It was one of those. And then she just, I was about 7, my brother was 5. She just left, just walked out the door.
No notice, just went.
And then declared herself as homosexual.
Goodness
which,
me.
again, in the mid-70s, late 70s,
That
was very taboo and not accepted at all.
Yeah.
But she was very brave with it. And we had regular access. She didn't try and fight for custody because she knew we got a lovely life. But we went to see her at weekends. She never had much money. But she was true to herself. Her and her partner would walk through the middle of Nottingham holding hands in the late 70s, and they wouldn't care when people swore at them and called them all the names under the sun. She was just a defiant person.
I mean, makes me sound like an old fart, but for the benefit of our younger listeners, gay these days is completely accepted as it should be. But what Nick's talking about there in the 70s and prior to that, I mean, it was just completely taboo.
Well, it's the bravery of people like that have helped get to where people are now.
And that's what people don't want to lose sight of.
Exactly.
What people went through then has created the society we've got now that is acceptant of it and as it should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then she had a tragic end and got, just as being gay was becoming acceptable, she died. So I just feel like she had a very tragic life. She never really, I honestly don't remember ever being really happy. She was always battling and always, life just was a tough battle for her. Her parents didn't accept that she was gay. So she had a very difficult relationship with her mum and dad.
Yeah.
She jobbed around. She never had the chance to do further education when she was younger because of having 2 young children too early. She was a very smart lady. She was very. I mean, at one point she became a bricklayer, a woman bricklayer. She was a very. Very interesting lady.
That's as unusual as being gay in the 70s.
And she was good at it as well. Because I went to labour for her for a few weeks when I was about 18, and she was really good at it.
Do you want me asking how your dad dealt with this?
He was okay, actually. Yeah. My dad's a good guy. He was devastated because he didn't want his marriage to fail.
Yeah.
But he wasn't he wasn't vengeful or he just said Jackie's who Jackie is and she's going to go and do that, and as long as you're safe when you're over there and visiting her, then then we'll move on.
So he was acceptant of it.
He was acceptant of it, yeah.
Yeah. I think from what I've heard, where relationships have broken down because somebody's come out as being gay, there's never any animosity because it's one of the. If somebody has run off with the milkman, to use an old phrase, that's one thing. But if somebody has gone into then a same-sex relationship, there's a lot less anger involved because nothing you can do about that one.
I think the anxiety on my dad. I agree completely with everything you said. I think the anxiety on my dad's side was our welfare, mine and my brother's welfare. because she had no money. She went into the Nottingham lesbian scene, which was there as a support mechanism, but it was some of the sort of less choice areas of Nottingham, places like Forest Fields, if anybody know, places like that. And as two young lads going over there at weekends, if we weren't being parented effectively, you're in a big dangerous city.
Got you. So it was nothing to do with the fact being gay. It was the area that she was living in.
Yeah.
And did she have to live in that area because it was an area that was a little more acceptant?
And she had her network of lesbians there, of the Nottingham lesbian community.
Yeah.
And she felt like she was in an inclusive, friendship group.
Yeah.
And she needed that.
It's quite incredible about how much it has changed. And I know I've just said it earlier, but what people had to go through and endure at a moment in time to end up where we are now. And this is within my lifetime. It's not like 200 years of evolution here. I mean, this is within my lifetime.
Within my lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here and I'm embarrassed about it. I don't know why I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed about it. I just feel bad about it because it just shouldn't be there.
I would just love to have this conversation with her. So that's why I've chosen her.
Yeah. What a great answer. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I just love it. I just love talking about growing and hopefully for the benefit of our listeners to get an insight as to what goes in to producing these products that magically appear on either the shelves of shops or delivered into kitchens in the morning. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time out. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Cheers. Cheers, Rob.
Thanks for listening to Supplied. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow Supplied Podcast on Instagram, where we'd love to get your questions and suggestions for future guests. See you next time.